Hello, it's Mark Gruhl here tonight, and we're here to talk about number one, my book, which is sort of what we're going to talk about in the story here tonight. But mainly, we want to talk about type 2 diabetes, and the reason why we want to talk about type 2 diabetes is very clear. In the arena of ill health, and that's what's happening to a lot of people today, and that's actually what a lot of my book is about. Is we're getting very significant, very, very significant situations with nutritional deficiency diseases, and that's what type 2 diabetes is. Because if you notice, I'm talking about type 2 diabetes here, type 2, Type 2 is actually, and I don't want this to sound negative, but it is not a disease, Type 2 diabetes is a situation. The best way that I can explain it is, I'm going to use myself, If I were to go to Florida out on a sunny white beach, me being as fair-skinned as I am, I would last about 8 minutes before I started to actually get a sunburn, By about 20 minutes, it would not be pretty at all, and then by about 35, 40 minutes, I would be crispy, Now, why is it that I have friends that can go out on the beach all day long and they come back nice brown tan, Understand, I am sun resistant, Meaning that what happens to me when I go out in the sun, now why is it that I can't go out in the sun and play like they can? It's not fair. It's not right, Well, that's the same thing that happens to somebody who's type 2. Type 2 diabetic is, their body isn't able to, And understand, we all have limitations to everything we do. But understand, when I talk about diabetics, I talk about my perfectly white, fair skin, That's actually a handicap for me when I'm out in the sun. Well, the Great American Diet is a major handicap for certain people who are challenged by it. Now, we don't know why. There's a reason that they're challenged for it, but we're not exactly sure why. It might be low muscle mass. It might be absorption in their gut tract's not good. There's several reasons. There's no way to identify that. But we are seeing the dynamic increase in type 2 diabetes. Now, I talk a lot about the reason why in this book, but tonight I'm going to give you a little information up front about it, and then I really would ask you to go get this book, because what's in this book, there's 70 pages of really helping you get clear on why our food is so messed up. Yes, there is a reason that there's so much more sugar in the food that we consume today, but the reason that there is so much more sugar in there is because the food manufacturers have lobbied to get it in there and make it legal to put it there. So again, they'll talk about that in my book. But type 2 diabetes, again, not necessarily a disease, it's more of an eating disorder. Now, I know some people are pretty offended by that, but no, it is an eating disorder, Now, some people have to be very careful because their systems can't take as much, like me going out in the sun, I can't take as much, But all of us will eventually get a sunburn. I will get one much easier than somebody else. But even people who are very resistant to the sun, if they really try hard, they can get a sunburn. I've seen it happen, So understand, all of us can fall victim to type 2 diabetes. Some of us are just very good at it, So, the liver is responsible for 80%, of the control of the blood sugar. Except for the doctors always work on this pancreas thing over here, this little thing underneath the stomach there, not the liver. And the reason why is they're focused on the insulin. Well, the insulin is such a non-issue. Yes, insulin pushes the sugar out of the blood and into the fat cell. But the liver has the key to the other side of that fat cell to reuse the fat, Hence why most type 2 diabetics are gaining weight, because they can put the fat cell together. They just can't reuse it and put it back the way it's supposed to be so we can normalize blood sugar. Now again, I explain a little bit of that in the book, but what I really explain is how to get this liver functioning normally again. There's a whole chapter devoted to that in the book. It'll really help you get this liver healthy and not deal with type 2 diabetes. So again, tonight was all about understanding that the liver, not the pancreas, is responsible for the type 2 diabetic. And the dynamic nutritional deficiencies is the big key, Sure, carbohydrates are definitely a problem, but remember, overeating in general, I don't even care if you're overeating protein, overeating in any capacity is truly the reason that this whole disease starts to happen. But as we age, it's because of what happens to the liver, and I explained it in the book, and that's why it's more predominant over the age of 40. Okay, I mean, you got to understand, there are people who become type 2 diabetics under 40, but it's really quite common after the age of 40. So again, it's really great to have you guys here tonight. I'm really glad you tuned in to watch the video. But this book, if you only knew, there'll be right below this video. You can click on it and it'll go right to the web page to order it if you want to order it. Dynamically good if you're type 2 diabetic, if you're borderline diabetic, if you know anybody who's a type 2 diabetic, they absolutely need to read this book. And if they can read this book and say, hey, I think I want to go down this road, call the number inside here or email me and we can start you on that journey to get you better again. I mean, if you don't want to walk down the trail of taking medication for the rest of your life to control your diabetes, then this is the way to go. I mean, in all honesty, the medication really doesn't control the diabetes. The medication, and again, it's going to offset some of the issues, but for the most part, it's actually making the type 2 diabetes worse, and it's creating more side effects that are even far more damaging. So again, please don't take my word for this though. Do some look. I mean, look up some other information about type 2 diabetes. You've probably already heard a lot of what I've said here tonight. But this book is a great way to get started learning about what you need to do. So again, thank you so much for tuning into my video tonight. I really appreciate it. If there's anybody out there that I can help, I would just love to. So thank you again for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.